Hey everyone, it's Patrick from Patrick and Friends Music, and today we're going to learn our A major chord. Now, if this is the first chord you're trying to learn on guitar, I suggest you check out our E minor, E major, and A minor chord videos. Those are great chords to start off with and build your foundation, and then start getting to the next level to learn this A major chord. But if you've already checked those out, let's get right to it. Let's zoom in and start learning our A major chord. Okay, now that we're zoomed in, I want to mention we're going to be learning one of the A major chord fingerings. Now, there's actually a couple different ones, but I think this is a great one to start off with. Now, when we get into our chord progressions and switching between chords, I'll start to get into those other fingerings. And also, I have a lesson recap PDF in the description. I'll include the other chord charts just for you to check out and kind of play around and see what fingering might work better for you. Now, for this first fingering you see in our chord chart, we're going to be using three fingers: our index, middle, and ring. Now they're actually all going to be on the second fret, just on different strings. So our index finger is going to be on the second fret of our D string, our middle finger is going to be on the second fret of our G string, and our ring finger is going to be on the second fret of our B string. Now we're going to be playing 5 strings for this chord, so our A string and our high E string are going to be open. Now, like I said, we're going to be playing 5 strings, so that means that our low E string, we're actually not going to play it. But like I mentioned in our A minor chord video, is this E note is actually part of the chord. So if you play it when you're strumming, it's really not a big deal. You'll probably wind up hitting it when you do some strumming patterns. Everyone does. It's not a terrible thing to do. But I think it just sounds a little cleaner if you avoid this string, because what that means is you have that A note, our A major chord, really ringing out and sounding as the lowest note of the chord. All right, so once you got your fingers down, I want you to try playing all 5 strings. Awesome. Now remember to check our chord. We're going to play each string individually. So start with your A string, go to your high E string. Now if they all sound great, they're ringing out, you're ready to go. But you'll probably have some issues with this chord. Now the first one I think you're going to notice right away is your fingers are going to feel a little cramped, right? They're all on that second fret, and that can pose some issues, especially with some people with some, maybe bigger fingers. It's going to be a challenge for you. Now, the one thing I just want to point out is that we want our fingers to have a good slant to them. As you see, my fingers are kind of displaced, right? So my index finger is a little to my left, my middle finger is right kind of in the middle of the fret, and my ring finger is a little to my right. And this will just help, kind of carve out a space for each of our fingers, get a little more comfortable. But you also don't want to go too far like this, or you're going to get this sound. And we definitely don't want that sound. But just find a good balance and, just work with the chord, make sure each sort of string sounds good. And just find the right fingering and find the right space for your fingers. Take a little time, but you can get it down. The second thing, I will mention this in every video, is we need to curve our fingers and use our fingertips. If we don't, we're going to get this sound. Yep, that high E string sounds really muted. So like I've said, curving our fingers is a little easier said than done, but if you practice enough on each chord, you'll have it down. Now, just a quick tip is if your thumb is peeping up here a little too high on the neck, you want to get it to the back of the neck. I know Hendrix rocked out like this, but not all of us are Hendrix. I wish we all could be. So if you move your thumb to the back of the neck, it'll help you actually curve your fingers. It'll give you a little easier time to help you do that. Now, another issue you're going to face is it's just pretty hard to press down these strings, right? You might get this sound. You might just have to press down a little harder on each string. I know because your fingers are cramped, it can be a little challenging. And there's no humongous secret to it. It just takes what I just did there. Just really pressing down and getting it so that when you get that right pressure, you hear the note sound really, really good. All right, and the last thing you may encounter is just our index finger might run into that A string. So if it hits that A string, you'll get this sound. Right, and all you gotta do is just, lower your index finger a little bit, make sure your A string can ring out. Play a chord, make sure it sounds good. Now, that's a lot of problems to face on this chord, but I really encourage you to get it down when you're learning the chord. reason why I say that is because when you get to the point where you're learning chord progressions, you really don't have time to think about all this stuff. You really just got to do it and get to it. So if you work it out when you're learning the chord, you'll just make your life so much easier when you start switching between chords and playing songs. So just the last thing I'll mention to help us get these chords down consistently, a little technique, is to play your chord, lift off your fingers, put them back on again, make sure your chord sounds good and rings out again. This will just help us get this chord down consistently, and it's a great, great way to practice. Now, if you're a beginner, just a little suggestion, do the same exact thing, but when you lift off your fingers, put them down individually one at a time. This will just ensure that your chord sounds really great and your fingers are all good. Awesome, now that we got our A major chord fingering down, let's zoom out and learn some strumming patterns. Our first strumming pattern is down, down, up, down, down, up. Or 1, 2, and 3, 4, and. So what we're going to do is keep our strings muted and just loop this strumming pattern over and over again. Ready? Down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and down, down, up, down, down, up. Awesome. So let's set up our A major chord and try the strumming pattern with it. Remember, for A major chord, we're going to use our index finger on the 2nd fret of our D string, our middle finger on the 2nd fret of our G string, and our ring finger on the 2nd fret of our B string. Ready? Let's try our strumming pattern. It's going to be down, down, up, down, down, up. Or 1, 2, and 3, 4, and. Let's try it again. Down, down, up, down, down, up. Or 1, 2, and 3, 4, and. Awesome. So what we're going to do is give ourselves a 4-beat count off and loop our strumming pattern. Ready? Let's try it. 1, 2, 3, 4. So something I want to mention, and we've talked about it with our A minor chord, is that on our up strums, you don't have to get every single string. So what I mean by that is when we go down, up, all the notes and all the strings are still going to be ringing out from the down strum. So when we go on our up strum, if we just hit the top couple of strings, so say our E, G, and B strings, it's still going to sound good because all the notes are ringing out. Why I actually suggest this technique for beginners especially is that a lot of times with beginners, they try to contort their hand or their wrist to try to get all 5 strings. But you really essentially don't have to worry about doing that because when you just get all the strings on the down strum and then you go up, hit a couple strings, still sounds great. You still hear all the notes of the chord. So try that out and see how it works for you. All right, let's get to our second strumming pattern. Now our second strumming pattern is going to be a little challenging. It's going to be down, down, up, down, up. Or 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. All right, so that is pretty tricky. Now I'm going to briefly break down the rhythm and the tricky spots in the rhythm just to help you out in case you're following our rhythm videos and you really want to learn about the theory. So the tricky parts about this is that our first up strum on the end of 2 actually gets held into beat 3. So what I mean by that is just our up strum, our first one, just gets held a little bit longer. Then after that, another up strum comes in on the end of 3 now. And this goes directly into our down strum on beat 4. Very tricky. Also, just a technical thing that might be a little awkward for you is we have 2 up strums in a row. And I assure you when you first start off, that's going to feel a little weird. But I think as you get used to it and start feeling the rhythm, it'll actually feel more natural. So if this is all just a bunch of gibberish and you're like, I don't understand the rhythm, it's okay. What you can do is just listen and try to follow along with your ears and your eyes, and I think you can get it with a little practice. So what we're going to do is just loop that strumming pattern with our strings muted to kind of get a feel for it. Ready? Let's try it. Down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. All right. So you heard me try to accent the ends. That's because our strums come in on those ends. So that might help you just to, sort of say it out loud while you play it to kind of help you out. All right, let's set up our A major chord and try the strumming pattern. Ready? Down, down, up, down, up. Or 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. Try it again. Down, down, up, down, up. Or 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. Awesome. Okay, so what we're going to do is give ourselves a 4-beat count off and loop our strumming pattern. Ready? Let's try it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Awesome. If you really enjoyed this video and our other videos, make sure you check out our Patrick and Friends Music Company Patreon page. There is content not available on YouTube and opportunities you can take advantage of. There'll be a link in the description below. Hope you enjoyed learning our A major chord with us. Make sure you check out our other videos where we'll learn more chords, expand our chord knowledge and vocabulary, learn some strumming patterns, and then start putting all these chords together and learning some chord progressions. Hope to see you in the next video, but in the meantime, happy practicing.